So just one extra thing, or a couple extra things actually, wanted to just cover about the update manager. You can see down here in the bottom right corner of the screen, there's this little black and white shield icon with a little orange dot. So that's the update manager, and it says, one update pending in this case, or available. Whenever you see the little orange dot there, that means there's an update. And so I'll go in here, and you can see, after that initial, massive amount of updates that I did for the initial start of, the fresh installation. Now there's just this additional one here with the new version. This is actually the icon that you can control it. You can right click on it and you can say, quit out of it, or, change some preferences or things like that. You can even refresh the list of updates from here. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit refresh up here though, just so you can see what that looks like. And it says checking for package updates. So it's checking for more updates, downloading the information from the servers and everything. And just in case there's more content that needs to be updated that it hasn't quite caught yet. That's a good thing to do sometimes. I usually like to do it after, installing some stuff just to make sure. Because sometimes like this, where there's another update, like it didn't quite catch from before, will appear. But the main thing here as well, in addition to just updating everything, if you go up to edit and you go to preferences, there's a variety of settings in here that you can actually change. So it says from the interface of it, it says you can hide the update manager after applying updates. So once it's done applying its updates, it'll go away from view. And it says only show a tray icon when updates are available or in case of errors. I actually like to check this one myself to on personally. That way, this little shield icon will not show up all the time. It will only show up when there are updates available, and other than that, it will disappear from view. So that's kind of, for me, that's kind of helpful, because then I know if it's down there then it needs my attention for something, whether it's an error that's happening or there's updates. And then other than that, it won't normally show up down here with this checked on. But if you want it on all the time, even when everything is fine and there's no updates available or anything like that, that's the default behavior, leaving this turned off. And so it says auto refresh. This says refresh the list of updates automatically. So if you don't want it to automatically do that, and you just want it to check for updates only when you manually open the update manager and you click the refresh button, then you can turn that off. Otherwise, it will automatically check for updates based on these settings here. So it says first refresh the list of updates after, and then refresh the list of updates every. So it said first refresh the list of updates after every however many days. So by default it's 10 minutes. So every 10 minutes it'll refresh the list of updates. And then after that, refresh the list of updates every 2 hours. So those are the default settings. If you want to change those, you can, using the plus and minus buttons under days, hours, and minutes. I usually just leave that alone and it does its thing, and I haven't had any issue with the default settings myself. So it says note the list only gets refreshed while the update manager window is closed and in system tray mode, so when it's down here and not open. So if you had the window actually open like we have back here, still visible and all that, then it would not refresh the updates automatically per these settings here. But if you scroll down a little bit further, there's notification settings as well. It says only show notifications for security and kernel updates. So that will actually give an actual notification. You can see this little window here. It says, or this little icon rather, with the exclamation point in a box. It says some system reports require your attention. So it's that kind of a notification. If there's an update for security and kernel updates, it'll actually give you this little prompt here. Otherwise, if it's just like an optional thing that isn't as important, it probably will not prompt you in the same way. It says show a notification if an update has been available in logged in days. So it says show a notification. So basically, show a notification if an update has been available for a week by the default settings here. And you can change that if you want it shorter or longer. So show a notification if an update is older than however many days, so 15 days. So like if you've it's basically what it's trying to do is get your attention if the updates have been sitting for a while and not automatically being applied or whatever, just so you know that they're there. So it says don't show notifications if an update was applied to in the last X amount of days. So if you applied updates in the last month, it won't show notifications like that. Otherwise, if it sits for a while, then it will. But you can go over to this other tab here, this blacklist option if you want, and it says packages listed here will never receive updates. Use this option to block updates that cause issues on your system. It is recommended to add packages to the blacklist by right-clicking them in this updates listing. So I've personally never had to use this, but if you do have a problematic update that's just, it's not applying correctly to your system, or when it does apply, it's giving you problems and you have to, use one of your system snapshots to, go back to a previous version, whatever, you can, just like it says, right click in here and pick the update. Say it was this one, for example. You right click on it and you would say, add it to, block it from updating automatically or whatever. That way it doesn't, cripple your system or whatever. And so that feature is available if it's ever needed. This one here, though, automation, is a very helpful one, fairly new. Like in recent versions of Linux, go back a ways, they didn't have any of this sort of functionality in place. But it says at the top of this orange bar, it says make sure your system snapshots are properly configured before using this option. So so they want you to use they want you to set up your system snapshots in case any of this causes any problems automatically without you knowing about it. So it says package updates. It says performed as a root on a daily basis. So whenever you see root, the word root in Linux, it's talking about as like administrator privileges, basically the same thing as your logging in with your password. So it's high level privileges, and it's basically whenever you see that, when it's talking about root or super user is the other one that you'll see called sometimes. That's what it means. It means, for your actual administrator level privileges. So, it says apply updates automatically, so you can actually turn this on. So this feature is, fairly new. And then here again, see, since it's a system, important system setting, it wants your authentication password. All right, so with that checked on, so now what will happen with updates is, and you can export a blacklist if you need to, if you have one set up, and it says, so this is just for package updates, and then other updates, this section here says performed when you log in, and you're saying update cinnamon spices automatically and update Flatpaks automatically. So spices and Flatpaks I'll go into in future videos, but they're basically alternative types of software that, cinnamon spices are kind of like little applets and things like that. We'll discuss those in the future, but they apply to features within the Cinnamon desktop environment itself. But Flatpaks are like an alternative installation that you can find some in the software manager that are Flatpaks. It's just an alternate way of packaging up software and installing it and things like that. So you can choose if you don't want to install these update these automatically, you can leave them off, but it's okay to also turn them on in most cases if there's updates to it. And it says automatic maintenance. It says performed as root on a weekly basis. So once a week, it will remove obsolete kernels and dependencies. And it says this option always leaves at least one older kernel installed and never removes manually installed kernels. So it's up to you if you want to do that. It's there's no real harm in most cases in leaving it off, or you can leave it on as well. The only thing that'll happen if you leave it off is that if you never go in and manually remove older kernels, then they'll just keep piling up, and then you'll have a bunch of them. But if you're gonna go ahead and use the automatic updates, you may as well use that, because it's not going to, cripple your system or anything to have this automatically clean up the older ones for you. So all of these are, they hinge on, making sure you first set up your snapshots in Timeshift, like we did in the earlier video, and that will ensure that you have your system snapshots in place in case some automatic update causes a problem and it messes up your system. I've been using this automatic update system since they released it, which I believe was with Linux Mint. It was either at the start of Linux Mint 20, or it might have even been towards the end of 19. I don't quite remember now, but it's been a couple of years now, and I have not had any serious issues with using it. About the worst that's happened is certain updates have gone unnoticed, and like maybe there was an error installing one time or something, and then I've had to go back in and manually just check again, force the install, like tell it to install it, and then reboot the system, and that's been about it. I mean, it really has gone pretty smoothly. But in the event something does happen and it doesn't go smoothly, that's where the snapshots will come in, and that's why they strongly advise you to make sure you have them set up first before you even think about turning on the automatic updates. But I did just want to show that to you as well while we were in here with the update manager, because as we can see, that one update was there. It says your system is up to date. So while I was doing that, it automatically applied that one update that was already there. So what this will mean for the future of your system when you have it installed this way is that you rarely will even have to do anything at all with Update Manager, because basically Linux will take care of it all for you. 95% of it. It will update automatically on its schedule. It'll download, whatever new updates that there are, and it will update them, and you can by and large leave updates alone. It'll just handle it on its own, and every once in a while you may want to come in and just check it to make sure, like once a week, once a month, whatever, just to make sure nothing has gone awry in the meanwhile. But for the most part, you won't need to manually update anything unless there's something you need like quickly, versus waiting for the automated system to take care of it. But most of the time when you get to the update manager, this is all you'll see. Your system is up to date, because it'll be handling it automatically for you. So really nice, convenient features that it's really good to have, in my opinion, and it tends to work pretty well. There's not too much in the way of issues, but so I just wanted to show you those extra settings while we were in here, just to make sure that you are aware that they were there. You can also access the system snapshots from here as well in the edit menu, and but the main one would be in the preferences, where you can access the automatic updates. So hopefully that was helpful for you. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want to learn even more, you can find my books at bookstoread.com/Jonathan. That's books, the number 2, read.com/JONATHAN.